Hey guys, it's John. You're on the JRB Tree Climbing channel. I am self-filming Scenario 3 in the new SRT playlist. Please be familiar with Scenario 1 and 2. In Scenario 1, I showed you how you can rig an SRT system with no mechanical devices and tying no knots at the climb site. In Scenario 2, I showed you how rigging could be easier if you're willing to take the responsibility to tie your friction hitch, the Longhorn Agile, at the climb site. In this video, I'm going to show you also what I call a typical tree, meaning I've used a throw ball to install a paracord preset in the tree behind me. But I'm going to be switching the Canopy anchor to the Maverick Hitch, and I'll be tying the Maverick Hitch on site. So again, as we add this responsibility to tie life-sustaining knots at the tree, we have to accept responsibility for that and have to be comfortable and well-versed and well-practiced in that. If that doesn't describe you, please don't attempt anything that I am about to demonstrate. And please take responsibility for your actions and your safety if you do attempt to duplicate anything I do. So let's talk about the system. There's three components to any ascent system as described. Here is my system. It is 40 feet of 9.5 millimeter ghillie, and I have my retrieval line built into the system. You could remove it. I just don't see any sense in so doing. The three parts of the system will be the following. The anchor, as I described, is the Maverick Hitch. The primary point of attachment is unchanged. It will be the Longhorn Agile, and my means of propulsion of advancement will be the JRB Garda Hitch foot loop. So let's take this apart. There goes my retrieval line, and it is attached to the static end of the rope that will be forming the anchor. And here I have a factory sewn eye. You might simply have a poacher's knot or a scaffold knot on a carabiner. That's fine. But that's the retrieval side of the system. And on the other side of the system, I've got one of my JRB end loops, and this will be used to rig. The tree crotch behind me is exactly 25 feet. And so if you do the math, I'm going to be sending 25 feet up one side, and with 40 feet of rope, I won't have enough rope to get to the other side. And so I'm going to be showing you a unique feature of how to rig the Maverick. So in my most recent video, which was entitled Rope Rigging Options Using the JRB End Loop, I showed you a really, there's always the option of the running highwayman's, but the most sleek and low profile option is a slipped overhand knot. I'm just going to lock it. I'm going to take the end, I'll tie it again, pops right off. I passed it through the loop, and it's simply an overhand knot, but it's slipped. Very basic. I'm going to lock it by taking the end and putting it through the loop. Just in case it capsized, it wouldn't release. But this is very sleek, very low profile. I'm going to start sending this up. So at the point, which is right now, where this is about to leave the ground, the other end, I've got 25 feet up the right side, and I've got another 10 feet before I get to the other end of the rope. What am I going to do? Well, I'm going to take advantage of all of the work we've done to make a really sleek end loop and a really low profile knot, and I'm going to form my Maverick Hitch here on the paracord and then pull that business through. So I do so at a point where basically the end of the rope is near the ground, giving me about 5 feet to form the Maverick. So I'm going to form the Maverick here, and I'm going to do so ensuring that I don't set it too hard. I am going to put my left thumb, and I'll show you that in detail, I'm going to put my left thumb inside the Maverick. Let me get over to camera here and see what I tied. So there's the Maverick Hitch. Here's the release loop, as per the prior video on the Maverick. Excuse me while I reached in my bag and I grabbed the carabiner, and here I lock the Maverick. That's the way it's prescribed to lock it. But see my thumb here? My thumb has got some breathing room inside of here. I need a little breathing room because I'm going to pass the JRB end loop through there. And this is a pretty foolproof operation. As long as we got some space in there, it always passes through. I recommend having the retrieval line on only because if anything happened where you're learning how to tie things the first time and you didn't have enough breathing room in here, you can always bring the system back. So let's go ahead and put that up. And right there, the hitch passed through. I'm going to get you guys zoomed in so you can see that. Okay, so we're right here. You can see the orange line, and it is passing through reliably and repeatedly. Now, if I had loaded this with a climb, those loops could capsize a bit. So whenever I climb with this system, I am always doing so under the assumption I will unlock it at the top of my climb. Okay, we've got that line up and set. If I decided I didn't want to climb at this juncture, I can still retrieve the system using my release line. That'll come back, but the hitch is locked. It will not explode. I'm now going to fashion, as per prior videos, the Longhorn Agile. Grab my upper bridge. Grab my JRB Garda hitch foot loop. So, as is the nature of self-filming a climb, I'm going to disappear into the canopy, and I am going to merely remove that carabiner. That's all I'm going to do. So that's pretty easy to picture. I'll be right back. Attaching my redundancy. I sometimes do that after I've loaded the line. Okay, so as I near the end of my rappel, my butt just a couple feet off of the ground, I want to point out that the only action I took at the top of the climb was to remove the lock on my Maverick. It's now unlocked, but with my body weight still on the line, if I try to release this, so let's just try to pull on it by gripping this. No, that won't work. Now I'll wrap around my hand. With one arm, I'm not able to release that. With two arms, I'm able to get it to move. My point is, it takes a significant amount of force to get that Maverick even started. But of course, if an exorbitant force was put here, if I transferred most of my weight onto this, it would release. We've got to accept responsibility for that. It is not considered a best practice in climbing to use quick release hitches for canopy anchors. However, with the jamming properties under load of the Maverick, I feel comfortable in doing that. I'm going to see if I can actually release it. I have to get my weight off it to actually release it. Okay, we had to pause for that passing helicopter. But now, when it comes time to retrieving the system, I basically do everything in reverse. Remove Longhorn Agile, And I can bring down the system either way. And so since I want to reinstall my paracord, I'm just going to pull on my retrieval line, which will send the entire climbing rope back up into the tree and my paracord back up into the tree. I may have untied it and needed to retie it. It's just a demonstration, fairly obvious. And when I'm done, you can see that that did not capsize. Just bring this through, release it. And to coil up the system, again, there's different ways to do it, but I use a butterfly coil, and I tend to leave everything still attached. So I think at some point we'll do a bird's eye view with me actually wearing a camera, so you get a better look at what's going on. But the pieces are all there for you. If you look at the video of how to tie the Maverick, this is doable. So now why would I use this over one of the other options? Well, the only time I would use this, given that I prefer DSRT, is if my DSRT rope wasn't long enough. Let's say I was carrying 60 feet of rope and I hit a crotch that was 40. I would basically transfer into SRT on the fly. And I've showed you how to do that on the Universal System playlist. But for someone who prefers to only carry 40 feet of rope, this is a viable alternative. But by mastering the Maverick, what it does is it opens other doors. The scenarios to come are really going to be fun, because now we can start to use the Maverick in other situations. We can use it when we want to get around the trunk. I'm going to do a demonstration that says, well, what happens if the first branch in the tree was pretty darn high and it was dead? How can I use that branch to still girth hitch around the trunk? I'll show you that. I need the Maverick. How can we use it in a floating anchor? I'll show you that as well. How can we use it in conjunction with other climbing methods? I'll be showing you that. All right, stay tuned, guys, and thanks for your support.